Hey everyone, how's it going? For today's video, let's take an up-close and personal, in-depth look at the 2015 Toyota Sequoia Platinum 4-wheel drive.
And this is going to be a detailed, in-depth review of the Sequoia. We'll start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clicking over the performance data, as well as show you a bunch of the unique aspects of the interior, as well as exterior.
And before I begin, I'd like to extend a big thanks and special shout out to Rice Toyota Scion, located in Greensboro, North Carolina, for providing the Sequoia Platinum featured in today's in-depth review.
And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and start her up, let her run. As you can see, the Sequoia Platinum does come standard with a remote start. It's a deep black exterior, featuring a quite unique red rock leather interior with perforated surfaces for the heating and ventilated function. Red rock also accents the doors, as well as the under part of the dash. The ignition cylinder is LED illuminated, and the steering wheel is auto power tilt telescoping. Potent sound from the 5.7-liter V8.
The Sequoia features an electrically assisted speed-proportional rack and pinion power steering system routed through a 4-spoke steering wheel and the platinum-specific combination of leather and the matte finish wood trim up top and down below. The spokes are highlighted in satin silver amongst your multifunction controls with heavy bolsters up top for extra grip. When you spring for the Platinum, the top tier of the Sequoia lineup, you also receive an adaptive variable suspension with 3 driver adjustable damper settings for comfort, normal, and sport, not to mention the electronically modulated air suspension with automatic load leveling and driver adjustable ride height. As far as the gearbox, the standard and only transmission option for all new Sequoia models is an electronically controlled 6-speed automatic, with manual shifting ability by putting it into drive and clicking it to the left and pushing the selector up and down. Putting it in reverse automatically activates the vehicle's backup camera that shows up within the LCD display in the dash. The gear selector is finished in padded trim with the wood effect pattern like you find on the steering wheel.
And so, we'll go ahead and flip on the automatic headlamps, fog lamps, as well as the hazards. Both front windows are fully automatic. And we'll go ahead and check out the exterior.
In 2008, Toyota launched the fully redesigned second-generation Sequoia, a modern and thoroughly refined evolution of the brand's first mainstream full-size SUV, which originally hit the street nearly 15 years ago. Continuing for 2015, the Sequoia remains essentially unchanged. The biggest difference over the past few years largely boils down to equipment package reshuffling, standard in-tune multimedia, and the discontinuation of the SR5's base 4.6-liter V8 engine. Unlike the premium branded Land Cruiser, the Sequoia is designed to compete against popular domestic offerings such as the Chevrolet Tahoe and Ford Expedition, offering a potent V8 engine, available 4-wheel drive, and 3 rows of seats with one of the most efficiently packaged interiors of its class. It's available in either 7 or 8 passenger configurations in 3 main trim levels: SR5, Limited, and Platinum. Built with traditional body-on-frame construction, the Sequoia rides on a fully boxed chassis derived from the second-generation Tundra, introduced for 2007. Keep in mind that the newest generation Tundra is now classified as a full-size truck. In other words, is quite a bit bigger than its predecessor, which also explains the size and weight increase of the new Sequoia. Even though it's quite a bit bigger, there have been a number of improvements and changes that work wonders to improve stability and overall ride quality. The new frame is 70% more resistant to bending flex with an increase in torsional rigidity by 30%. The double wishbone front suspension design carries over, but has now been thoroughly massaged with different mounts, bushings, and an increase in front wheel travel. Turning radius has even been reduced to 39 feet thanks to repositioning of the steering rack and front anti-roll bar in front of the wishbones. The biggest enhancement was replacing the Tundra's live rear axle for independent double wishbones, giving it more car-like behavior and handling characteristics than ever before. Especially when comparing the first generation Sequoia, today's offering is far more capable in every dimension. Aside from the extensive visual changes, another important addition was a substantially more powerful 5.7-liter V8, paired with an upgraded 6-speed automatic transmission, now standard equipment across the board. Borrowed straight from the Tundra, this ultra-low emissions certified power plant makes 90% of its torque at 2200 RPM, which notably helps towing performance. It's even more fuel efficient than the previously offered smaller displacement base V8 engine. Properly equipped, the Sequoia can tow now up to 10,000 pounds compared to its predecessor's rating of 6,500 pounds. Of course, without the towing package, it's limited to just 7,400 pounds, but along with the increased capacity, the towing package also adds a receiver hitch that's integrated within the frame, auxiliary transmission cooler, 7-pin connector, heavy-duty alternator, and 4.30-to-1 rear axle gearing. For those familiar with the first generation, you'll instantly notice that the latest generation Sequoia is substantially bigger in all dimensions. It's bolder, more aggressive, and rugged looking, a big departure from the relatively chiseled and sporty appearance of its predecessor. Like before, it also has plenty of Tundra styling cues up front, with a few unique bits thrown in there for a more refined look. Overall length grows by 1.2 inches, the width spans an additional 3.9 inches, width increases by nearly 2 inches, and height rises by just over half an inch. Front and rear tracks also widened an extra 2 inches in front and 3 inches out back. While styling is becoming a bit dated as far as 2015 standards, it still has a unique presence. I personally prefer the sportier styling of the first gen, but the more muscular look definitely grows on you after a while. The only important thing lacking in my opinion is the option for more modern xenon or LED headlamps rather than halogens across the board. When equipped with 4-wheel drive, the Sequoia gains a 2-speed transfer case and a torsion limited slip differential with default torque split of 60% at the rear wheels and varies as much as 70% at the rear, or an even 50-50 split between the front and rear axles. It's all routed through a simple rotary dial on the dash, with full locking ability at the press of a button to limit wheel slippage in low traction scenarios. For added strength, the front and rear differentials are larger than before, measuring 8.7 inches in diameter in front and 10 inches at the rear. While the standard ratio of 3.9 to 1, you also have the option of a 4.3 to 1 ratio in the aforementioned towing package. For those looking to head off-road, ground clearance is between 9.6 and 10 inches, with an approach angle of 27 degrees and departure angle of 21 degrees. Even though the vehicle is longer, the overhangs have been reduced. The Sequoia comes standard with 18-inch alloys on the SR5, but with the Platinum you receive a unique set of 20 by 7.5-inch diamond cut finish alloys wrapped in two 75/55 tires. The Limited also features 20-inch alloys, but are a slightly different style. When equipped with the larger wheels, the tires can hold upwards of 0.75 G of lateral acceleration. As far as the brakes, bringing the vehicle to a stop from 60 miles an hour and 130 feet is done thanks to 4-wheel internally ventilated disc brakes measuring 13.9 inches in front with 4-piston calipers and 13.6-inch vented discs in the rear with single-piston calipers. Along with ABS, the Sequoia is also equipped with electronic brake force distribution and brake assist. As briefly mentioned earlier, the all-new independent suspension features double wishbones at each corner, in addition to tubular shock absorbers, coil springs, and a hollow tubular anti-roll bar. The new suspension not only improves ride and handling, but stability and turning radius. Overall length is 205.1 inches with a width of 79.9 inches and a height of 74.6 inches, running on a 122-inch wheelbase. Total curb weight, depending on how equipped, is around 6,000 pounds.
So let's go ahead and pop the hood.
The Sequoia is powered by an all-aluminum 32-valve 5.7-liter V8 featuring double overhead camshafts, variable intake geometry, dual variable valve timing, a red line of 5,900 RPM, and a compression ratio of 10.2 to 1. It produces 381 horsepower at 5,600 RPM and 401 pound-feet of torque at 3,600 RPM. This allows the Sequoia to accelerate to 60 miles an hour in a relatively quick 6.2 seconds, while hitting the quarter mile in around 14.5 seconds at 94 miles an hour. Surprisingly enough, the 5.7 liter is fairly fuel efficient for such a large vehicle. The overall tank capacity is 26.4 gallons and the recommended fuel is regular 87 octane. Mileage ranges are an EPA estimated between 14 miles to a gallon in the city and 18 on the highway for two-wheel drive models. Equipping it with four-wheel drive reduces it by 1 miles per gallon each. Regardless of the trim level, the Sequoia features a well-built interior. Step on up to the Platinum as seen here and you have near Lexus-grade seating surfaces and just about every bell and whistle imaginable, including pre-collision warning, adaptive cruise, blind spot monitoring, and so much more. The only downside one must consider are the overall ergonomics, which may pose some difficulty for shorter individuals as radio functions and climate controls are slightly offset to the passenger side of the dash center line. It took me a bit to get used to it, but controls are easily laid out in a simple fashion, so figuring out how it works is a cinch. I recommend experiencing it in person to make sure the layout works for you. Many of the interior surfaces and touch points are wrapped in soft touch material. Throughout, you also have satin silver trim that highlights the speedometer cluster and splits up the center console, which adds a little bit of a unique styling cue, and your matte finished faux wood trim. The seats are 14-way power adjustable, including your standard adjustments, in addition to power thigh support and power lumbar. The middle portion of the seats are perforated, which keeps everything nice and ventilated with the Platinum's heating and ventilated functions. You have both adjustable seatbelts and adjustable headrests, and a plethora of airbags found throughout, including both driver and passenger side knee airbags. Logoed embroidered floor mats, and a full power tilt telescoping leather steering wheel. The silver styling cue in the dash is also pretty cool, I think, in a way that it kind of curves towards the driver. I wish the center stack and the radio controls also did the same thing. Down below on the left-hand side, you have plenty of different controls for things like your blind spot monitoring, power trunk release, reverse tilt of your mirrors, and your headlamp washers. The dash is nice and broad with your digital clock located up top, grip handles, and a power sunroof.
So let's go ahead and see if she sounds. So we'll go ahead and shut her up.
The Sequoia Platinum comes standard with a premium JBL synthesis audio system, consisting of 14 speakers including subwoofer and digital sound processing, which has the ability to create a surround sound-like experience. It's all routed through Toyota's InTune infotainment system with built-in navigation, customizable displays, Bluetooth streaming, satellite radio, and app suite.
Your side curtain airbags, padded visors, with vanity mirrors that you can adjust the brightness, secondary sunshades located up top. Your rear view mirror is auto-dimming and features a compass and 3-position garage home link. At the top stack, you have your hands-free Bluetooth microphone, interior illumination, as well as reading lamps, not to mention a padded sunglass container. Your sunroof controls are located there, and back here is a mirror that you can unfold to keep an eye on the rear passengers. The sunroof itself is fully automatic, and there's a little window flicker that automatically pops up as well. As we come down the unique center console, you notice that it's split by the speedometer bezel, and it continues all the way into the center console as it meets into the gear selector. Pretty unique styling cue, but everything is tied in pretty well. In the middle is your standard dual-zone electronic automatic climate control with the Platinum model, with your fan speed, one-touch automatic to the far left, temperatures in the middle here, as well as changing between your different zones. Your front and rear defrost, AC and recycling, as well as syncing both sides. The rotary knobs in the middle give the look of knurled aluminum for a nice sure-footed grip and high-quality feeling. Your four-wheel drive selector, and to the right of the steering column is your traction control, as well as power rear glass, with fully automatic mode. Earlier Sequoias, you had to unlock it from the rear and it would go down powered, but you'd have to wait till the vehicle was turned on and everything before you can pull it up. This one, it's fully automatic and goes down and up on demand. Your driver information control is located to the right hand side here with activation of your front and rear parking sensors. It also shows up in a little indicator up in the top stack. As you continue down, right beneath the climate control is your USB auxiliary iPod integration, as well as your rear climate settings. 3-stage heated, as well as ventilated seats for both the driver and passenger, while you have 2-stage heated seats in the rear. Lighter and/or 2 12-volt power outlets, a little bit of storage, as well as 2 cup holders, or an extra one back here if you choose not to have the ashtray up here. There's a little storage tray right here, but if you pull this little flap, you can remove it into a hidden storage compartment. And if you haven't figured it out already, there's a plentiful amount of storage pockets, as well as cup holders found throughout. Not only in the front, but in the rear, which I'll show in just a little bit. Massive center console in the middle here can adjust fore and aft, and reveals a tremendous amount of storage space. You can remove this, it's adjustable, and there's another power outlet in the middle. Your digital clock and outside temperature show up in front of the mid-range speaker in the dash. As far as your steering wheel, your radio controls are located on the left-hand side here, whereas your hands-free telephone and voice commands, as well as adaptive cruise activation, is located on the right.
How may I help you?
Help.
To use this speech recognition system, press the push-to-talk button on your steering wheel and say a command that is natural. Here are some things you can do with this system. Get directions to an address. Find points of interest like restaurants and movie theaters. Play your music. Listen to the radio. Make a call. Read and send text messages. View weather and traffic conditions. At any point, you can say back, start over, or cancel, and help is always available as well.
Cancel.
Canceled.
It's a fantastic, pleasant voice, and an easy-to-use system where it completely walks you through. Your cruise control adjustments are located there, your intermittent wipers up top, as well as activation of your rear wiper, and all of your lighting controls, and turning off your daytime running lamps if desired. Display brightness, and a very comprehensive, if not unique, instrumentation cluster with your vehicle fuel, temperature off to the right, voltometer, oil pressure off to the right as well, and a transmission to oil temperature. Alrighty. A nicely equipped, yet uniquely styled interior. We can shut her off. And we'll go and check out the back seat. As far as the back seat of the Sequoia, it can be configured two different ways. You can opt for a full middle row bench seat, or standard in the Platinum trim is two separate captain's chairs with a full-length center console. There's also a lot of different ways you can configure and adjust the seats, with a few power adjustments standard on the Platinum, and I'll show you those in just a second. Across the rear doors, you also have the same color schemes that you find in the front, lower storage with the two cup holders down below, and standard on the Platinum trim, in addition to rear tinted windows, are manual sunshades for all rear passengers, including the third row. Like I briefly touched on earlier, the middle row seats in the Platinum trim are also two-stage heated. They're also perforated just like the front. Handy step-up bar, storage pockets on the back of the seats with some cutouts for extra leg room, and of course, grip handles up top. Now, if you need help getting into the back seat, you pull this lever here. It collapses it only slightly to where you can slide it forward. Once you slide it forward, using the little step-up platform, it makes it quite easy to get in and out of the back seat. Of course, if you need more storage space, you can fold it completely. It locks in place. You can undo this and put that over to bridge the gap, creating a flat loading space from the front to the back if you had the third row folded down as well. Since the seats do lock in place, you need to pull that little handle before you pull them back up. Another nice little feature about the Platinum trim, not only can you recline manually these seats right here, but the back row is powered. They go fore and aft a certain amount. They'll also power fold, either from here or in the cargo area, creating that flat loading space that I mentioned earlier. The headrest can fold up or down depending on if there's passengers back there for increased visibility. Now, one really big positive that the Sequoia has going for is how much interior space there are for the rear passengers. Not only for the middle row seats, but especially the third row. So, go ahead and fold this forward, climb on in. It's actually really easy to climb into the back too. Now, I'm around 5'10", 5'11", somewhere around there. And if we pull this seat up here, lock it in place, that person up there still has plenty of room. Leg space I'd probably estimate to 5-6 inches or so, and head space probably a couple inches or so. It really is amazing how much breathing room and interior space there is back here. I mean, even the seats, my complete unbiased opinion, these are probably some of the most comfortable third row seats I've ever sat in a full-size SUV. I mean, you're not cramped or anything. It's actually really soft. There's not a whole lot of lateral support, but there's plenty of back support. Combined with the tall armrest right here, you can kind of just kick back and relax, even adults. But if you're going to sit 3 people back here, they're most likely going to be smaller. My size probably won't fit in the middle, most likely a child. That's who's probably going to be sitting in the third row anyway. But it's kind of a funny theme throughout how many cup holders there actually are in this vehicle. There's 2 more on either side of here. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15 cup holders that I could count. Oh, excuse me, 15, 16, 17 in the middle. There's about 17 cup holders in this vehicle, which is astounding. I can't imagine 7 people having 17 cups to put everywhere, but like I said earlier, you do have manual sunshades across the back, and you have storage pockets over here and over there and down below, so everybody has a space to put whatever goodies they bring along with them. There are grip handles up top here as well, with air vents just like the middle row, and coat hooks. I'm actually wrong. There are in fact 19 cup holders in this vehicle because I forgot to mention those. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 17, and 19 on the other side. Nice. You also have side curtain airbags to the rear. Like I said, These can also collapse if you need them for better visibility. Another nice thing too is that the backseat passengers can easily get out. Instead of having to reach over here for the handle or anything like that, there's a little kick pedal on both sides. You just press it and it automatically folds it forward. So let's check out the middle row. Like I said, middle row passengers are also treated with the same copious amount of interior space that you would find in the rear. Actually, a little bit more, of course. Hopping on in is easy thanks to the wide doors, tall roof, solid feeling panels, and the privacy shades, and for sun protection, of course. Like I said, I'm between 5'10", 5'11", and I have more than 6 inches of leg space here, and maybe 4 inches, 5 inches of headspace. What's nice about the middle row seat that separates itself from the back is that you have a little bit more lateral support on either side of you, but back seat or lower back and upper back support is pretty much the same. Do have the storage pockets on the back of the seat like I mentioned earlier. A Blu-ray player is standard for the Platinum model with a widescreen display, and in the middle you have a reconfigurable center console, embossed with the Sequoia logo on top here and the soft leather on top. 2 compartments up here, and in the back, an extra one that you can even pull out for a cavernous amount of space. In the middle, like I said, you do have 2 large cup holders, the 2-stage heated seat controls, and another little storage tray up front. In the middle here are your audio-visual controls, headphone jacks, an AC 100-watt outlet. This isn't a grounded outlet, so make sure you plug in something that only has the 2 prongs instead of the 3. All of your climate controls for the rear as well are located here. And of course, side curtain airbags. So, let me give you a few first-person clips before we check out the rest of the vehicle. Of course, all those controls like I just touched on. Broad dash, and your Blu-ray player up top with illumination, SD card input, and your built-in drive is located up top as well. Quite practical. I'm amazed at the proper utilization of storage space this thing has. So let's check out the rest of the vehicle, shall we?
Out back, the Sequoia offers one of the greatest total cargo capacities in the segment. A power liftgate is available. With the rear seats folded up, there's a respectable 18.9 cubic feet of storage. Fold down the second row and it substantially increases to 66.6 cubic feet. Like I said, with the upper trim levels, you also have power folding rear seats. Lastly, fold down the middle row seats and it nearly doubles to 120 cubic feet of total space, enough to swallow just about anything you want to carry. As you would expect, there's plenty of illumination, cargo tie-downs, and there's an extra power outlet out back. Underneath the cargo space floor, you actually have this nifty little storage compartment for securely stowing some extra items.
And here's the storage space, cup holders, and pocket. You You also have the same power adjustments for the passenger seat that you find on the driver's, except the power thigh support. It also features a 2-tier glove box with some extra storage on top and a locking glove box down below.
Even though this design is 7 years old now, the Toyota Sequoia offers one of the largest interiors in the segment, with fantastic flexibility and capability. That alone is worth considering it, along with its efficient design and a wealth of luxury and premium amenities.
Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at the 2014 Toyota Sequoia Platinum. Be sure to stay tuned next time, there's a lot more where that came from. Take care everybody.